We strongly believe a real strong woman is built out of inner strength of self-confidence that fades her flaws and fuels her success. Welcome to the third episode of the movement called #WeToo, a platform created for the professional women by the professional women. Yes, with a goal to give confidence to be able to stand up, speak up, and by doing so inspire and of course uplift the community of other working women around the globe. I'm your host Poonam Vijay, the founder of the movement #WeToo and the founder of a global digital job seeker visibility campaign called #Support Saturdays. At #WeToo, we are driven by a mission to support women by bringing real ground issues up and out there for you. Our today's topic is very interesting one with an eminent panel of my fellow corporate women leaders. We will be discussing why is corporate sector not yet ready for more women leaders right on the top. Yes, for this panel, please join me to welcome a stellar lineup of women leaders, Ms. Amita Khetkar, Senior Corporate Leader, TEDx Speaker, and a technologist by profession, who is also Diversity and Inclusion Advocate to more than 30 MNCs. I'm also joined by Ms. Deepika Sandhu, VP India Business Sales and Strategy at a leading global firm, Ms. Isha Malik, a young and vibrant negotiation strategist with Software One and is also an ITIL certified sales operations profession. Ms. Megha Sain, a senior SHW expert, ICC member, head of human resources for a leading tech firm. And yes, last but not the least, Ms. Urmila Chauhan, Director Business Development with EDU Thrill. I am thrilled about this session. I am really excited about getting the views out of the women leaders so that these views can reach up to you, reach up to the younger generation, the Gen Zs of the world, and of course, any and every woman who is out there wanting to understand what is the ground reality, what is good, what is bad, and how to bridge the gap so that we can propel ahead. If there are any mental blocks that we face as fears, how to redeem them and be able to come out as successful winners in the corporate world. Let's go ahead and start the panel discussion. Hello everyone and welcome to #WeToo. I am so glad to see this very, very eminent panel and I'm looking forward to all the discussions, all those real stories that are going to come out through this. So let us start with Amita. Amita, I have some number to give you before I ask my question. You know, this is a fact that there aren't too many women bank chief executive officers in the Indian banking industry these days. Among the public sector banks that we call as PSBs, there is only one woman CEO, Ms. Padmaja Chunduru of Indian Bank. In the private sector, not even one big lender has a woman CEO. There are 3 names in the foreign bank group, and I'm actually proud to give those names out because I am happy to say that there are 3 names. Zareen Daruwala of Standard Chartered Bank, Kaku Nakate, President and Country Head, Bank of America, and Kalpana Morparia of JP Morgan. Now, Morparia retires later this year. This wasn't the case until a few years ago. For real empowerment, women should be offered, as per you, equal opportunities and not a special institution to possibly prove their potential. My question to you today on this panel is, why don't we have women bank CEOs?
Thank you for your question, Poonam. And also thank you for setting the tone at the beginning that this is a safe space. So, we can have a very free-flowing kind of conversation. Now, before I answer your question, considering the situation that we are in, so I hope all of you are safe, taking care of yourselves, wearing masks, following social distancing. Yeah.
No mask right now.
Yeah, because
we are in
a bubble, bio bubble right now, taking care of ourselves in our own houses. Absolutely. That's why we are not wearing masks. So coming back to your question, I'll add another name to the list. I'm sure people who follow financial sector might have read this information towards the end of last year, beginning of this year, around Jane Fraser, who is the CEO of Citi. Yeah.
Yes.
But then what were the articles in the leading financial media houses? The articles were Citigroup's Jane Fraser to be first woman CEO of Wall Street Bank. World Economic Forum's news said Citigroup has just appointed the first female CEO of a Wall Street bank. Jane Fraser, Citi's new CEO and first female leader of a major US bank. Right. So, I mean, if you see the problem or the narrative, the discourse here is not just India specific. The discourse is quite wider. Yeah. Even why only just banking sector? If you look at other sectors as well, in the corporate sector, even as of today, only 15 to 16% jobs, C-level jobs, are, let's say, occupied by women. Politics, we all see, right? What is the situation in politics? How many female prime ministers did we have till date? So it's not just banking specific. It's if even if you look at the wider other sectors as well, the higher positions occupied by women are very few. Now then, what are the possible reasons behind it? So a couple of reasons that I could think of. The first reason, which is extremely critical, is women always have to make harder choices between professional success and personal fulfillment. Couple of examples which suddenly come to my mind. So in my erstwhile organization, so there were these two individuals holding certain positions in the same unit. They fell in love and decided to marry. Okay. And according to the organization policies, people who are involved and, in whatever capacities, they cannot be reporting to the same manager. They cannot be part of the same BU. Okay. Right. Now look at the situation here. Okay, who took the decision of moving out? The woman in that relationship took the decision of moving out. Okay, let's look at another situation that I also have seen. So there was this female colleague of mine in the previous organization. We were great friends, and then got married, decided to have family and all. And because only two of them were living here, and it wasn't really possible for the in-laws to come to the town and be with them, and they didn't really trust a full-time nanny, considering whatever the circumstances are. The female in the relationship decided to quit the job and look after the family. All right. So these are the major decisions, and that is where majorly women give precedence to their personal commitments over the professional commitments. Again, more often than not, we see women going through the guilt factor,
What I understand is you're trying to say that women cannot have it all.
Absolutely. I mean, women cannot have it all because of the kind of conditioning we go through. I mean, especially in the Indian context, if you see, we are constantly told that you cannot have it all. This is what it is. And if you aspire to have it all, then you're just not the woman. Your womanhood is at stake. That's where, simple, if you can't get a dabba to office and if you eat in the cafeteria, there are these eyebrows which go up. Imagine. And if there is this talk that your husband is unwell and the woman is in the office, suddenly what kind of a wife she is? Her husband is unwell and she is in the office. I mean, if kids are not doing well in the studies, in their exam, the question directly goes to the woman in that relationship. If the house is not well kept, the question goes to the woman. And here I am talking about the majority of the setups that we have, not the few selected ones where they have really gone through the evolution mode and, they are really up there when it comes to equality. Okay. That's where in a circumstances like these, women always put professional progression on a second priority. And that is why we don't see too many women occupying higher positions in the corporate or any other sector. But I wouldn't say things.
Right. What do you think corporates can do to make it conducive for women?
Absolutely. So that's what I was coming at. So I wouldn't say things are not changing. Things are changing in the right direction. So, various corporates are running initiatives like She for She, He for She, which revolves around mentoring, which revolves around creating support system for women. Then there is this legal aspect, framework, which has been created to support women or their specific needs. Like we have now 6 months maternity leave. We have menstruation leave in place, so that thought process, which was there, let's say 5 years ago, let's not hire a woman because she will go on maternity leave. So that thought process is getting curbed, Also, various organizations are running initiatives like return to work. A lot of women, like I said, personal commitments, take sabbatical from work. It puts a gap in their professional learning. That is where initiatives like return to work enable them to come back to work. They can reskill. The organizations are encouraging to reskill so that they are ready to work. So things are moving in the right direction, not as bad as they were. What we need is maybe wider societal changes in terms of equality. Definitely, if, gradually we'll see more women occupying higher positions at various sectors.
I hope so. I absolutely hope so. Thank you so much, Amita. Urmila, let's come to you now, taking the lead from Amita from here. You have written something very interesting on your LinkedIn, and let me put it out. Pretend that it's a quote from Make a Ash, right?
That's
Pretend
right.
that every single person you meet has a sign around them that says, Make me feel important. I can visualize it's a sign like this, make me feel important. Come to the corporate world now. Tell me, as a woman leader, you have been leading the sales front. You know, it's a front and it's a man's world, and you're going and leading it from the front. When you talk about this, make me feel important. Many a time, somebody who's wanting to make the other party important, it is construed in the corporate world to be not right. We being the women, we face it, or it is construed to be something else and not just a way of aligning, going ahead, being a part of the team. How has been your journey and story? And if you can throw some light from this perspective on Mila.
Thank you so much, Poonam, for throwing this question across. Very, very important question, actually. Yeah, you're right. Actually, I really go by Mary Kay Ash. Who usually, the statement goes by pretend that every single person you meet has a sign around his or her neck that says "Make me feel important." We all know that Mary Kay Ash was an American businesswoman whose company had an international sales force for about 800 plus thousand in about 3 dozen countries, and who purposefully included women in her team way back in the 1960s. Now, as you said, this quote is also on top of my LinkedIn profile, and it's for a very, very good reason. It is something that I have always believed in the last 17 years of my working experience as a sales professional. Now, coming back to the question, my tool since day one, walking in the shoes of a leader, has always been, giving ear and listening to my colleagues or my juniors, my seniors, and also top level executives for that matter. Listening actively is moving beyond making someone feel important to words of praise. Now, that's what I always believe in. With all of us mostly day long and sometimes even nights, buried in a deep inner Excels and back-to-back meetings, the most important thing we can do to somebody in the corporate hubs is giving them time. Now, time is listening to what the other person has to say, and hopefully the time for us to respond rather than react. That's what I have always gone by. Now, it is crucial in empathizing rather than sympathizing with your professional acquaintance within a few minutes of chat. What it also means is that you start to see things, in their perspective, helping you to avoid crossing any kind of those lines. Those dotted lines I'm talking about.
Right. So, Umila, interesting. I want to pick up from here. See, as women, we are always walking a very tightrope.
Yeah.
There is an invisible line. It is an invisible line.
Yeah.
Warmth or making somebody feel important for a woman who's in the leadership position. How do you manage that invisible line? Why don't you give out some strategies to everybody who's watching this panel today?
I would like to add to this that as women leaders, our experiences are different both as a community and as an individual. In a community, we experience and manage people differently, than men. Our responses are a result of very involuntary tactics learned through years of tackling unruly men and advances that were made. So, honestly speaking, I believe the best way to walk the tightrope of making someone feel important while drawing a line is an art, and which honestly all women here on this platform have already mastered. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but we have already mastered that. For the organizational stakeholders or the peers and colleagues, it should be very clear from the start that the person's treatment or importance is due to the level of knowledge, value, or the business he or she is bringing across to the organization. That again is mostly evident when we are trading it right, actually. So, as individuals, two women have diversity within their communities, from women who entered the workforce after a break, coming from a break, or to a woman like myself, who's never had a break in her career. So I think that's what my take on the subject is.
Poonam, do you think it is important to say no as no?
Yes, it's very important to say no as no. No means no, no.
And if it is a supervisor or senior or your boss, how do you put that no across?
Uh,
I know it's
very
a
tricky,
difficult one.
very tricky question. Uh,
Amita, I'll come to you.
you have to get it. You have to have a clarity, in actually putting that across. You can't just go and just say that this is what has happened, because that's not going to get entertained for sure.
Yeah.
Now, there's certain level of, depending on what kind of organization that you're working with, you have to speak to, certain people. You have to speak to a committee who's in place, and you have to follow the right channel for sure. But that message has to go that no definitely means no, and you are not going to take brunt for it what you haven't done. And
Yes.
that message should be very, very loud and clear.
Great. Thank you. Thanks. You wanted to add something, Amita?
Yeah, so what I want to add to that is, see, we can't make a rule for everybody. That is where all of us, every individual has a different technique of dealing with the situation when it comes to no means no, right? So not all of them are very assertive in situations like that. A lot of us are conditioned, burdened through various aspects. What is required here is awareness. All the corporate houses today have posh guidelines. So if you're not aware that individual needs to, invest efforts to understand what posh is all about, how the corporate they are working for is dealing with that situation, all right, and then seek help, find a confidant at the workplace, an ally who is no judgment, no advice, who
Right.
can be that support system in these difficult times. At the same time, there is this other side of the story also. There are these women who are fine with it. We should not have a judgmental approach towards them. It's fine if you are comfortable with it, and that's how it is. Then nobody should be there to demonize them or judge them. I think that's how I think this situation needs to be dealt with.
Sure. Thank you for adding in. Thank you, Urmila. Okay, let's move on to Isha now. Isha, I have an interesting report to cite here before I ask my question to you. And it says, according to the 2019 diversity report, women constitute 29.2% of the Microsoft's workforce. And I'm talking about this company because my question is related to a recent announcement that they did. Microsoft said in an SEC filing this week, I mean, this is last year, that it will actively consider women and minority candidates to succeed CEO Satya Nadella, making it among the most explicit statements from a major tech company about CEO diversity to date. Now, this is a huge announcement that has come. And I'm sure if it is as an announcement made publicly, they will stick to it. We know who Satya Nadella is today. What is your opinion and view as a young lad on this panel, right? Tell us about your story and how do you perceive your career? What were your challenges and how did you deal with your challenges? Isha, you got to unmute your mic, please. Yeah, perfect.
Yes. So thanks for this wonderful question. Actually, I got chance to work with Microsoft for 7 months on a contract basis. So it was a very great experience. Microsoft actually come forward and gave opportunities to women. If they see spark in you will definitely get that opportunity. But still, I don't talk about CEO. I will talk about major leadership positions are still not in hand of women in Microsoft. So CEO is a far much better, like far much longer way than what they have catered on plate. So I want to highlight this particular incident. When I was walking through the corridors of Microsoft, I came across this beautiful portrait saying, "Ever wonder who's shaping today? Who is shaping the society today? Creating, innovating, and leading." And bringing the world forward. It's her. Where women rise, everyone benefits. And when it's her, it's all of us. And there was a full stop.
Yeah, lovely.
Yes, and there was a full stop, and everything stopped there. It was very good. Why? Like I have this question. I even like we have freedom to talk in partner companies as well. Like right now I'm in software one. I have such nice person in leadership where I can go and talk to them and I ask them why when you're so open to it, when you're giving us the gateway to walk through, why we're not able to cross that gate and get that opportunity which we dreamed of.
Yes.
So I came across this simple formula which they shared, that was ACDOP. And
ACDOP. Okay.
yes, and this is based on 100% based on the real time experiences which I have faced in my 9 years of experience. And by A I mean attitude, C I mean challenges, by D I mean as determination, O as an opportunity, and P as in publicize. So we don't have the so I have written few lines, like I am like I love philosophy a lot, and I always mix that in my work. So when I talk about attitude, so it is said that when you know your purpose, you can perfectly fit in the puzzle of the universe. How to find this purpose? When you know difference, when you know sorry and thanks can lead you to a different path. Don't ever go and beg for sorry, always say thank you for guiding me. So that attitude can make that great purpose, because you know that Karen Lynch, CEO of CVS Health, ranked 5 by Forbes magazine, and Mary Barra, CEO of General Motors, ranked 18. And if you go through those histories, those books, those amazing articles on them, they actually follow this ACDOP concept.
That's lovely, Isha. I want to interrupt here and ask you. You have two examples given from, across the borders. Do you have an example from India that we
No.
all celebrate today? And that is my question. And that is my entire platform all about. Tomorrow,
So
somewhere in the West, they should be taking our names. What is stopping
actually,
us?
okay, so there is the very nice question you have asked. So if I talk about India, India is a name which has no meaning. If I to honestly say, it is just a Western name given to us. So when in India we give a kid a name, so it holds a meaning. But here we are not giving any name to our country, so we are meaningless. So here every task done by every citizen is meaningless. They are just following those British era customs till date in office. So if I go, I have to go and say thank you to the boss. Thank you. To bosses is very strong over here. And if a boss sees a candidate who is full of energy, full of vibrations, and full of capabilities, he will never let that person grow. It is not gender bias. It is the like very cruel fact in India. So again, here the women don't see it as opportunity; they see it as challenge. And here the whole problem lies. They, instead of fighting, they idly give up, because there is lots of family pressure, friend pressure, society pressure, friends, and then colleagues pressure, and then bosses. It is not letting us groom. Like there was this very nice example. I came across a situation when I was told that expectations are often set lower for women. So I asked, wouldn't it be easy for us to become a CEO of a company? Not even if CEO, at least a leader of the company. Shouldn't it be? So don't stereotype us. The problem is people actually stereotype us, and mm, they just
How do
pull
we
us back.
break this? Yes, they pull us back. How do we break this?
I
Do
have
you
one
have,
question over here.
do you have some strategy to give out? How do you break this, when you
Okay,
get pushed back from
so
purpose?
only two things I have configured so far, but I want to ask you one question before that. We all know father of computers as Charles Babbage, but do we have any idea who was mother of computer science?
That's exactly the point. We don't celebrate women.
We
We
don't
don't.
publicize
Yes.
the achievements which women has scattered. Like if I talk about CEO, I literally Googled it, but Satya Nadella, he publicized himself. He come on picture, on board, talk about the problems. At least he's talking about the problems. But
Yeah.
who as women CEO is coming on public platform and talking to us, emphasizing on, come on, I am here, you can come and replace me over here, come and be strong. So we have
A great
internal
thought.
insecurities as well.
Okay, let's with this. That's a good thought. I'm picking up from what you said, and let's move on to Deepika. Deepika, Now, this is going to be an interesting one. A recent executive research firm, EMA Partners, it's a global firm, found that in the FY20, only 6 of the top 250 company CEO are women. Only 6. Out of which 3 are founders or belong to the family of promoters. That means organic growth is not there. Organic acceptance is not there. Now, if you look at the recent, gender gap report of 2021 that just got released, it said that it is going to take another 100 years and add on to the backlash that has happened because of COVID. Now, this gender equality or inequality has been pushed to 135 years for just 2 of the genders that I'm talking about, male and the female. From Bumble to YouTube, how the world's most powerful female CEOs build their empires. What is your take on gender equality or how women must get conducive environment? Even Isha is talking about the same, the passion is there, but where is the environment or how are we trained to publicize ourselves? What is your view on this?
So I feel today's scenario, the problem which existed, let's say 10 or 20 years earlier, it has improved, but not as per the expectation of all of us. I completely agree with your viewpoint, wherein we feel that women at the CEO or a senior leadership levels across organization is extremely skewed data. Industries like oil and energy, infrastructure, retail. I'm not talking about BFSI because in banking we've had likes of leading women who have inorganically tried to head the banking and insurance organization. But oil and real estate infrastructure, if you talk about manufacturing, you don't see many female employees and you don't see leaders there. Reason primarily are 3 according to me. Definitely one is a requirement of the work-life balance. Men around us are judgmental. Before they pass on some critical or a high value or high impact task, their worry is, will she be able to balance it out? Right. If she would be balancing it out, would it be at the stake of something? Right. Yeah. Isn't it better, more comfortable to give it to a male colleague than her? Irrespective of the quality or the performance of the output that the lady or a woman professional will get in. I remember my days around 12 to 14 years ago when I was contemplating to pursue career in sales. And not in operations or hardcore customer care, experience. There were a lot of people within my family who were more worried about me as to would you be successful, would you last long? Isn't it better to continue with a contact center, customer care,
care.
Fashion designing? Why don't you get an opt for such kind of a career? I strongly feel today I am heading sales at Static, which is one of the leading tier 1 business process outsourcing. It is listed in USA, and we have a very strong presence in India. I, along with our HR, which is a talent acquisition team, we work extremely extensively to ensure that, every second position out of, let's say, 5, we try to go in for a lady boss. Or someone who's at a middle management. We try to do IJPs. It's called internal job posting, wherein it is fed into our operations team and our HR team that try to have more participation from your female professionals. So I think,
Deepika, I want to make a very important point here. You are the leader sitting in that organization, driving it. And that's exactly my point. When we will be able to see more women leaders, we will be able to possibly put out this across and drive it with our HR teams, that every second or third appointment needs to be of a woman. I'll give that credit to you.
Thank you for that. And I really learned it seeing people around me, ladies around me, and also there is a biological cycle. When
Right.
we all do our graduation, I think the females graduating from India is much more than males in India,
Right.
but we don't land up in corporate jobs. Most of us are either married off or sent abroad for better standard of living, get married to an engineer, pumped off to a MBA professional who's doing much more better. And in case if we land up getting good jobs for ourselves outside of India, we are considered lucky.
Yeah.
I think very important, corporates must realize that there's nothing that a woman can't do. Multitasking comes very naturally to us. I think as a woman, not only to the panelists that I have and you, Poonam, who's leading this entire discussion, I feel it's time that we should stop the handing over of right to decide or right to choose, our
Correct.
career to anybody than us. And that kind of
Very well said.
yes,
Very well said. If you want to be a leader, then you got to first lead your life first,
that
right?
is right.
Is what you're
That-
trying to say.
and
Wonderful, Deepika. Yes. Yes,
yes,
please.
and another appeal that I have to all the male CEOs or the chairperson or the chair men of Indian organization, when you settle down to finalize your vote, out of 5 seats, if you start with a small step of having one or two, I'm not asking for reservations. We'll do it on merit. We'll do it on performance. But if you want to change, you want to be a catalyst, one or two seats at board, if it is intentionally planned and deliberately given to high performing women of your company, I'm sure after 5 years or 6 years, when we have this debate, Poonam, there will be good amount of change in thought process and with data on the ground.
Absolutely. I'll push this number to 50% because only in India, if you talk about the population, the women population is 48.5%.
That is
We deserve to have 50% seats in the board. And why just that women compulsory board member? And that has also been pushed down the throat, and that's why you see one woman sitting in the board and not by potential or more. So I really agree with you. And I'm looking forward to be doing a celebratory session again, saying that, when women started speaking about it, India has moved, India is making the right changes. I'm really waiting to go to Megha, who is a leader in the HR, the most right person to be talking about how HR as a function feels about the gender equality, or you're also have been an ICC chairman and currently an ICC member. Where do you see the conducive environment getting pushed back? What, as per you, Megha, being an HR leader in the industry, will really make a difference? Please pour your heart out. I really want to know, as an HR professional, what do you feel? What kind of motivation you want to give to everybody who is a woman listening to this panel today?
Thank you, Poonam. Thank you for having me in this platform. Thank you for giving this opportunity. It was wonderful hearing all my co-panelists with their thoughts and sharing their experiences. I would like to say 2-3 things. I was listening to all my co-panelists with their wonderful views. So first, to start with, I'll say what is not conducive and what can we do. Okay.
Right.
I think one approach is to identify the problem. Second is what could be a solution. Okay. So the first problem, what I see being in HR, and fortunately, I am in a profession where there are more females. Okay. It's very usual to see females in an HR role.
Right.
Leading HR. Okay. So in terms of, however, if a woman is leading an HR function, there are still these stereotypes in the organization, because ultimately you're working in an organization, you're working with your counterparts, you're working with people around you who are, the diversity is not there. So when I talk about my peers in various organizations that I've worked with, be it a startup, be it a structured process-driven organization, there aren't many women at an equal level or probably higher than me. Okay, so my kind of engagement with people is more towards a bias of working with men rather than women. Now, here, what can be done? There are multiple reasons for that. Amita mentioned that society, we're conditioned in a way to believe that we have to balance both. There's no choice being given to us. You have to feel guilty if you're not able to balance those both the things. And when it comes a point where you have to choose, then you choose family over a professional career. That's one. Second is, and I strongly believe, I don't know how many people would agree or disagree, that women don't help enough women within the system. Okay, and I have seen that this has to change. Then change, you can't blame anybody else. Okay, the change has to start from you. I'll give you an example. I'm heading HR right now. I was an HR executive also 13 years back, 14 years back. Okay. Even at that level, and even now, I am the first point of contact where I have the absolute authority and power to reject a CV or to pass on a CV for further processing, right? And I'm not being gender biased here. I'm talking about either a male or a female candidature that I receive. Even now, being in HR, and I talk about this a lot in HR forums, HR conferences, that we play a very critical role in bringing in diversity. And I just don't mean gender diversity, diversity of all types, diversity of all types. So I am the first point of contact, and I'm just taking it on me. I'm the first point of contact to reject a CV. Now, if a woman is not working, or if we all know it, how difficult it is to come back after a sabbatical. How difficult it is to get back to work, to find a right job. One of the reasons women not going up the ladder is when they take a sabbatical and when they plan to come back, they have to restart their career. They don't get that position, that designation, that compensation where they left. Right? So they compromise on compensation, they compromise on designation, they compromise on the role, and they restart their career. When you restart, it takes double time to kind of, move ahead at a CXO level. And then your peers at that time, be it men or women, have already gone ahead. So when you have it like this, you fall out. Okay. And there are multiple reasons for falling out. Now, when I say, so again, also, we all of us have a role to play. We are bosses. We hire our teams. We are HR. We are hiring for our company. How can we bring in that change? What I have done in my organization and in my previous stints is, I give a preference to people who are not working for valid reasons. I will be taking a look at the skill and competency. There is nothing like a sympathy or an empathy kind of a thing. It has to be on merit. Okay.
Right.
At least are we open to listen to their reasons of why they left? Okay. Not that the stereotype that we have in our minds is the person is not working, I would have left the job, kuch to isi mein problem hogi.
Correct.
Right? That has to be changed.
I think you're giving a very strong message to all the HR leaders listening to this.
Absolutely. I talk about it a lot.
Thank you for saying this, because no CV should be sabotaged saying that you took a break. We are human beings. Even machines conk off, yeah. Right?
But
we are supposed to be back to back. We appreciate when somebody comes and says, I'm not even going to take one day ka chutti between this job and that job, and you take pride saying that LinkedIn profile changed the same day. No, this has to stop. What kind of lives are we living? Thank you for saying this, Megha. Anything else you want to add on?
So my point here is that it should be. But what happens is, even if you have the will, your business will say, no, this person is not suitable. Or, we would want people who are working currently. But, I would say the positive side is that is changing. See, if you, as a leader, start making these changes and how you put the things to the business, it's about being firm, about being rational, being firm, being logical, of saying what you believe in, okay? And giving those candidatures to them who are competent people who can do the job. So first, it starts from there. Okay. So my message to the HR community has always been that, help people, give that opportunity. You have the power to give that opportunity. As bosses, we all have that power to give that opportunity to somebody who needs a job, right? Nobody would value your job more than the person who does not have a job. So if that person is willing and competent, give that person the opportunity. Okay.
Well said.
So that's one. Second is again society, as I told you. Third is within an organization. Now the question comes: the person is there in the organization. Now what? Okay.
Yes.
So there are so many stereotypes that we are fighting and doing within the organization also. Okay. And I'm talking about it irrespective of being a male or a female. Okay. If the organization's policies, structures, the thought process, the wisdom of the leadership team is moving in a way where it is conducive or inclusive. I would say inclusive. I'm not being gender biased of being male female ratio. I would love to have 50-50 percentage ratio. Right now, if my organization had 37% gender diversity, it dropped to 34, and I'm just thinking how to get ahead with this, how to kind of change this. But typically IT companies or any other sector, the diversity ratio is somewhere around 16%, 17%, and they struggle to maintain that also.
Correct. I think that needs a lot of working there. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Megha, for your views. To wrap up the session, we will have a quick one-word answer. I kept it little inquisitive kind of a question so that we all can quickly, it has to come from your subconscious mind now that this is what you think. My question is to all of you, and we'll go in the same cycle as we started. What, according to you, is the first question? Number one strong reason behind lack of women leaders at the top. Just one, no sentence, one word. And what is the one power tool? What is the one power tool for corporate growth and excellence you want to give out to the corporate world today? Let's start. Megha, should we start with you?
Sure. So,
just one word.
One word for not happening is society. Why there aren't many women leaders? I think conditioning, society. What could change?
Power tool for success for women.
Myself, me. I think I can bring that change, and I have to believe in myself. My self-belief, that's it.
Excellent, excellent. Isha?
My answer would be cribbing. Cribbing is the one thing I have seen that yes, bad incidents do happen, but we shouldn't stop there. We should learn from it, take the lessons from there and move on. And one power tool to see every challenge as an opportunity. Challenges will come, but your path will be longer, definitely, but success will be yours.
Excellent. Thank you. Amita?
So first is our internalized misogyny. We constantly doubt our own capabilities. That's what we need to overcome. And second is also aligned with it. We always look at half glass empty. So if there is a job opening, it happened with me also. When I got this opportunity of my current job, I looked at the skills that I don't have. That's not what men do. They look at the skills what they have, and maybe they bluff a couple of more skills and they just, I'm perfect fit.
Yes.
So that is where we need to get at.
That's a very important point because, I've seen this. They will look at the JD and say, first, though aate hain, we'll do it. I think that confidence, women, you made a very strong point, Amita. I think women lack confidence. They always think that we will be judged. Not everybody is a performer. Everybody is trying to perform. Some are super performers, but they have that confidence.
Yeah, right? we are very harsh critics of our own selves.
Of our own selves.
Stop that, yeah.
Wonderful. Deepika?
I would say don't hand over the right to choose to anyone else. I said that during my initial discussion also. When we give that right to other person, could be anything. I don't want to put any relation. I think we are actually showing lack of confidence and the fact that we don't know our own worth.
So you are
definitely.
saying number one strong reason behind lack of women leaders is lack of confidence in women.
Yes.
And the power tool?
I think we should stop thinking, and this always happens when we talk about women professional trying to make it big or made it big, in the corporate world or a political world. There is no class ceiling, right? We must be telling ourselves every single day, dream on, march on. It is in us to be confident. It is in us to prove it. We should have our own bars of our life, and we should keep on meeting them, surpassing them, and have to prove it to our own selves that we can do it, but not to anybody else.
Sure. And the organizations must support this. The moment you have support coming from the organizations, you will feel confident to go ahead. Great.
Yes, there is a requirement of support not only professionally from the organizations that we work. There is also support required on effective networking. In sales organizations, we work B2B. That's business to business. So effective networking within your corporate world, and definitely there is a requirement of a good support system at home. Your parents, your in-laws, who are always there to take care.
Great. Urmila.
I think for me, what is lacking is a very, very big word that I always faith. You need to have that faith in women. Just let her jump into the ocean, let her find her own way, and even if she kind of drowns, let the diver deep down, later on, but let her first jump into that ocean. And what's the power tool is empowerment. Very, very important. You have to empower women. And the day that starts changing, and the day you coach her, in that succession planning, things are going to go change. Things are going to change, and things are going to change for good.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
That's my 2 cents on that.
Lovely. I think what I can conclude by saying is the faith, the confidence, the empowerment, the belief, Megha, that's what you said. And of course, think positive. Isha, what you said is to cover the whole thing up. Wonderful. Thank you so much. I hope,
one point, if you allow me.
Oh, please, please.
One of the main things that I see in HR and females a lot is that, women are there earning, doing it for their family. There is so much lack of financial literacy in women, and it's a conscious thing. Okay.
Correct.
Women are only to be blamed for this. If you know how to earn, you don't have to be dependent on your father, brother, husband to invest your money.
Yes, absolutely.
Very true. Very true.
You build your own dependence on people, and that nobody else is to be blamed for other than women themselves.
Absolutely.
This is one thing that I've been telling my colleagues in the office, my group of people who I got mentored or I am mentoring, that you have to think of financially being independent. Financial independence is not just earning, but if that money is getting transferred to your husband's account and you're
What's the point?
money,
You're again dependent.
then there is something that we should think about.
Absolutely.
So that's the reason we are so interdependent that we are not able to come out and be dependent. That doesn't mean that nobody else is doing that, but there is still majority of females who are not doing that, who are really dependent. So financial independence or financial literacy, if I may say so, is also one of the
very important points. So I would conclude by actually saying that you may not control everything that happens to you, but you can decide not to be reduced by your situation. With this, I thank wholeheartedly everybody, Urmila, Megha, Isha, Amita, and Deepika for joining #V2, the platform that allows women to speak out, absolutely being fearful and speak their heart out. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting us.
Thank you, Poonam. It was a pleasure being here today.